Hello, my name is Kenneth Marple, and today I'm going to be doing a response video to Rationality Rules video, The Great Cost of the Kalam, so stay tuned. So, to get some preliminary stuff out of the way, um, I, I saw this video relatively recently, and I thought that it would be a good video to give a response to, especially with as popular as Rationality Rules channel is. Deflate YouTube channel did a response video, but this is the only response video to uh, Rationality Rules as of now. Um, but I wanted to interact with this video just to kind of get my thoughts out there and to kind of contend with the argument or the objection he is presenting. And I kind of like Rationality Rules channel. I like Steven. I think he tends to be thoughtful. Even though we disagree, I think it's good that he tries, at least he gives the impression that he's being thoughtful, but he'll even admit when he's wrong, just like he corrected himself as he did a response to the response of his original video. But let's go ahead and get into it. So, the great cost of the Kalam. So, um, his primary objection is free will and the first premise of the Kalam don't go together. So, my initial thought is, okay, so what? If libertarian free will and the Kalam don't mix, why should I be bothered by that? We can always move, if Stephen is right, we can always move to compatibilism. So I'm not going to cover compatibilism here. I just kind of wanted to get the word out there so people have something that they can research and look into. But essentially, it holds that free will and determinism kind of go hand in hand. So it kind of looks to marry those two ideas together. That's why it's called compatibilism. They say that free will and determinism are compatible, simplistically speaking, of course. All right, so his primary objection is that libertarian free will does not fit with the first premise specifically of the Kalam cosmological argument. The reason for that is free will breaks the rule of the first premise, and the first premise is whatever begins to exist as a cause. So free will, by its very definition, does not have an apparent cause of its existence, and I mean outside of the person that's exhibiting that free will. And he goes into a little chain and he shows why he thinks that this is the case. And I will post a link of his original video in the description, and I recommend that you watch it prior to finishing my response to it, or else you will be lost and not know what's going on. So my initial thoughts here is I believe Stephen is making a category mistake. So when we're looking at the Kalam cosmological argument, I believe that it is talking about material events, i.e. the universe beginning to exist. And all of the examples given to show that this first premise is good, when we're talking scientifically and philosophically, we talk about, or the examples given are, we don't see a horse popping in and out of existence without some sort of cause. So I believe that the Kalam cosmological argument is specifically talking about material causes. So if this is the case, then mental events such as free will would not fit into that category. So mental events seem to be immaterial events. So they're different categories of things, though they may exhibit similar actions or directions. So I think the mistake lies in the idea that because we see correlations between brain states and mental states, then this correlation equals that they're the same, i.e. physical and mental are completely connected and one and the same. However, it does not seem to be the case that brain and mental states are the same. Of course, they relate to one another, I think, in primary ways, but to suggest that they're the same is flawed. I would point you to Inspiring Philosophies, link is below, a video series on this very topic. So this is one of the assumptions that Stephen is making to ensure that his argument holds. However, if he assumed that mental states and or mental events, mental states, and physical events and brain states are different, then his argument doesn't seem to hold anymore. Another way to rebut this objection would be to say that under the Christian worldview, assuming God exists, since we always have to start with some underlying assumption, then by his very nature as sustainer of the universe, our free will was caused by this sustaining nature from eternity past. So God's sustaining nature, and it has always been that way. Now, by this, I don't suggest that God controls our wills, but rather it was by his very creative act that our free will was caused, thereby eliminating the need to have a direct causal link between our free will and a certain event. Now, from a conceptualist perspective, even though our free will is free to each individual person, there is an overarching or necessary will that makes each individual or contingent will function. Now, I realize that this video is pretty short, but I wanted to get these ideas out there into the interspace before too much time has elapsed, and then it would just be awkward that I made a response video. Also, there's only been one response, like I said earlier, to Stephen, and that was by Deflate. And that's about as far as it's gotten so far. And like I said, I will post a link to that response to Stephen's The Great Cost of the Kalam in the description. I encourage any of the viewers, and I encourage Stephen himself, to respond to this just cursory view of my rebuttal to him. And I think there could be a good interchange here. The only reason, like I said, I made this kind of short is I just want to get the ideas out there. And I'm still going to kind of process and think through these a little bit deeper and try to kind of formalize it. But like I said, getting this out there, getting this into Stephen's ear, and seeing what he has to say to my quick little response and thoughts on this, I think would be great. And I appreciate you watching, and I can't look forward to hearing from you, Stephen. Everybody have a great day.